All right, Larry Kruger here from The Krug Show, the Pig in a Pickle Krug Show, with a little video on the Eagles getting beaten by the Seahawks on Monday Night Football. All right, check out Pig in a Pickle, 2 locations, Emeryville and Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. And also check out Underdog Fantasy. This video brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check the link in the description. Use that promo code KRUG, K-R-U-E-G, and they will match you up to your first $100. What a game on Monday night between the Seahawks and the Eagles, and the free fall continues for Nick Sirianni's Eagles as the Seahawks get the win 20-17. Seattle keeps their playoff hopes, albeit slim, alive at 7-7. The Eagles, who were 10-1, have now dropped 3 in a row to fall to 10-4. Philly, as I said, was 10-1, and now they're 10-4, and they've lost 3 in a row. And Drew Lock threw a 29-yard touchdown to JSN, Jackson Smith Enigma, with 38 seconds left to cap a 92-yard touchdown drive, and that was the difference in the ball game. Seattle ends a 4-game losing streak for Philadelphia. They now have lost 3 in a row. JSN, he beat James Bradbury off the line of scrimmage, and that was really all it took. In fact, Deebo Samuel may feel a little vindicated because James Bradbury was horrible on this entire final series. So Philly had a 10-0 lead, and they blew a 10-0 lead. DK Metcalf was being really quiet in this game. Suddenly he had 3 catches on that final drive. Julian Love had the play of the game. He had his second interception to seal the win on a ball from Hurts to A.J. Brown. Love may or may not have gotten his foot down. It doesn't sound like he did. But he also had an interception of Hurts in the end zone in the middle of the fourth quarter. Julian Love is a great player. He really is. He was great against the Niners. He was terrific at Notre Dame. The Seahawks, John Schneider, signed him away from the New York Giants as a free agent in the offseason. And Love has just been spectacular. He almost single-handedly beat the Niners in the last Seattle Niner game. He was just fantastic. I mean, forcing fumbles, interceptions, tons of tackles, making plays on the ball. He's just amazing. He's an amazing player. But Jalen Hurts, who played while sick. I mean, I'll give him credit. He was not 100%. In fact, he took a different flight from the team to get to the game so he wouldn't get the rest of the team sick. He had a great game. He ran 13 times for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he was 17 of 31 passing for 143 yards and 2 interceptions, and both of them obviously coming from Julian Love. Kenneth Walker had a 23-yard touchdown run in the third quarter to tie the game at 10. Walker finished with 86 rushing yards. Him and Charbonnet are really a good little combo going into the future for Seattle. And for Seattle, it's a win for them. It's a big win. They move into a tie with 4 teams for the NFC's last 2 playoff spots. So they're very much alive. As I mentioned, Hurts had the 2 rushing touchdowns. He now has 14 rushing touchdowns on the season. Drew Lock, if you wanted to say, what did Drew Lock do in this game? Nothing really other than avoiding major mistakes. We always talk about make a play, make a play, make a play. Pro football is also about don't make a negative play. And Drew Lock didn't make any negative plays in the game. That was a big difference in the game. He was great on that final drive. He completed 5 passes for 92 yards on the final drive. So next week, Seattle's at Tennessee, while the Giants come to Lincoln, Philadelphia on Christmas Day. And who knows? I mean, they got 2 games against the Giants, their final 3. Who's to say? Maybe DeVito beats them one time. Some of the magic of DeVito. But Seattle was +2 in turnovers on the 2 Hurts interceptions, and that was really the difference in the ball game. Julian Love, besides having the 2 interceptions, also had 9 tackles. He was everywhere. Philly could have moved into first place in the NFC East if they had gotten a win, and the number 2 overall seed in the NFC playoffs had they won. Instead, they fall to the 5 seed in the NFC. So it's, when you look at the Niners and Dallas and Philly, really three dramatically different levels of football. Philly's point differential on the year, which is the number of points that you score versus the number of points you allow, is only plus 18 on the season. So Philly might have been somewhat of a fraud at 10-1. Dallas, where's their point differential? They're at plus 167, and they blow out a lot of teams who are subpar teams. They play bully ball. Once they get a big lead, they put you away. The Niners are plus 191. So the Niners, far and away out of those three teams, have the highest point differential on the year, and they are the best team, and they have the number one seed right now, going into their game on Christmas against Lamar and the Ravens. So the 49ers, if you're a Niner fan, you're loving what you're seeing. The disintegration of the Philadelphia Eagles. They haven't won since they kicked big Dom DeSandro off the sidelines. Well, obviously that didn't have anything to do with it. But Philly is just, they're not as good as you think on offense or on defense. If you can make Hurts play from the pocket, he's pretty ordinary. If you can, get in a game where they can't just run the ball at you constantly and they have to actually throw the ball to win the game, they struggle. And then on defense, they've replaced their defensive coordinator. Matt Patricia is now calling the defensive calls, and Sean Desai has just been demoted. And they're feeling it. It's amazing how fast things change in the NFL. Philly was literally on top of the football world rolling into that game against the 49ers. They were 10-1. They had that game at home. People were saying, Eagles are going back to the Super Bowl. They're the number one seed. Blah, 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 blah. The Niners slapped them around. Then they went to Dallas and they got worked by a really hot Dallas team. And now they've lost to Seattle and they're in a free fall. They've changed out their defensive coordinator. They're questioning themselves. It sounds like there's some internal battles going on. Jalen Hurts is practicing how to fall on the football because he's fumbled so many times this year after being sacked. And they don't look like the same team right now. They have Dallas Goedert back. Lane Johnson went down in this game, but he'll be back for the Giants. It wasn't a serious injury. But just when you look at that Philly team, between their linebackers and their safeties, they don't have as good a back seven as they had a year ago. Nowhere close. They badly missed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and Blankenship has just been totally ordinary. So, huge win for the Seahawks. They stay alive, and you knew they were going to play huge, right? Why? Because the Seahawks were desperate. The Seahawks, if they had fallen in this game, they're literally out of the playoff picture altogether. Instead, now they're still alive. So you knew that they were going to fight and claw. And Drew Lock is playing some pretty good football right now. DK was totally shut down until that final drive. But what can you say? The Seahawks have some playmakers on D, and one of them is Julian Love, and he came up huge. So Seahawks get the win, 20-17. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube.